So, hi everyone, and thank you for watching this video. Today I have a wonderful guest, Sheri Marino. Hi Sheri, thank you for being here to
Thank
talk.
you for having me, Romina.
Absolutely. So Sheri is a licensed pediatric speech language pathologist specialized in autism spectrum disorders. She received her Bachelor of Arts in Speech Language Pathology Audiology at Rutgers University and her Master of Arts degree in Communication Sciences and Disorders at Montclair University. Sheri founded Rockinghurst Rehab, a pediatric rehabilitation specializing in speech, physical, occupational therapy, and equine-assisted therapies. They treat children with various disabilities, including autism, rare syndromes, and psychiatric disorders. Sheri is a published author in Autism Parenting Magazine, Epoch Times, and several other media outlets. She's also the executive director of the Autism Healthcare Collaborative and nonprofit international medical video conferencing team of experts who collaborate on medically complex cases of autism. So tell us the story of how Autism Healthcare Collaborative was born and how it helps the autistic community.
Sure. Our founder, Dr. Paul Abend, is a family medicine doctor and a doctor of sports medicine. And he has a son who is currently 21 on the spectrum. And he has suffered a lifelong medically complex autism disorder. He was diagnosed early, before age 3, but early on he suffered from issues such as gastrointestinal disorders and then seizure disorders when he was a little older. And through Dr. Abend's frustration in trying to find appropriate medical care, trying to find doctors who understood what was going on with his nonverbal son, it led him on a national search for doctors who could help to stabilize his son. What he realized in his search was that doctors were missing a lot of medical issues that were underlying, causing a lot of behavioral disorders such as self-injury or aggressive behaviors towards others. And this came from undiagnosed sources of pain, such as gut pain. It came from seizure disorder that was not recognized because the symptoms were subclinical. And it took very experienced doctors to be able to understand and recognize what these disorders were, since Mikey was nonverbal and couldn't communicate his pain.
Oh, this is very interesting. So it's interesting because, you know, when we have a physician that is also a parent, there is a kind of a specific point of view. There is the element of compassion even more than in general. So this touches me particularly, also because I have a brother with autism and a father who is a doctor, is a pediatrician. But for some reason, my story is much more complicated of the one of Dr. Abend, because my father is in a kind of way a traditional doctor, so he doesn't used to deal correctly, let's say, with my brother's issues. So this is why I wrote a book, because it's a kind of ironically crazy, right? So it's something not common for sure, that you have a pediatrician father, but you don't know how to take care of your brother in a properly way. So and this is why I'm in the process to make a movie based on that, because we need to talk the more we can about that. So it's interesting what you said, so there is a kind of team, right, that they take care of specific kids and or adult.
Yes, so similar to your story, Dr. Abend as the father of an individual with autism, but also as a doctor, was feeling very frustrated because he knew that he understood his son as a parent. But as a father, as a father, he understood his son. But as a doctor, he was frustrated because he couldn't help his son. And so reaching out to these medical experts across the US from leading academic institutions such as Boston, Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston, or Boston Children's Hospital and UCLA, he was able to bring together a team of doctors from various subspecialties to help his son. The areas such as GI, neuro, psychiatry, allergy, immunology, neuropsychiatry, and also pediatric pain. And what he did was bring all these doctors together in a video conference. And he said, we need to talk about my son. We need to collaborate, and we need to agree on a plan of care, because I can't go to 6 different specialists and walk away with 6 different plans of care. I need one plan of care that is cohesive and agreed upon between all specialists.
Wow, this is very impressive and absolutely innovative. I think it's a unique approach to the topic. And yeah, it's the first time that I have heard about this kind of team of experts. And actually, this is what we need everywhere, because it's really, I think the best way to help people, to help families to find a good solution in different parts, not of the problem. And in this sense, I think that also local physicians can, can be help from your organization, right?
Yes, I think that local physicians, they're community family medical providers, right? They are doing their best to manage a very medically complex population. And unfortunately, in our medical schools, we don't have fellowships in autism. And so the doctors are being trained in gastrointestinal disorders and in seizure disorders, but not necessarily as they pertain to autism. And the symptoms can look very different in our population of autistic individuals as compared to a neurotypical population. Maybe if a neurotypical individual has reflux, they'll complain of pain in their throat or their chest, or a child can tell their mother or father that they have a bellyache. But our nonverbal population can't do that. And so oftentimes pain in the GI tract might show up as a self-injury. It could show up as, a lot of individuals end up punching themselves in the face or in the chest, or sometimes they lay their bellies over furniture to put pressure on their belly. These behaviors have to be looked at as medical symptoms, because oftentimes they can't communicate what that pain is. Our doctors are specialists in autism. They're authors. They do the research. They're at the academic facilities where the research is done. And so, as we know, it takes about 20 years for research to be put into practice. So it's not trickling down to the boots on the ground, the family care physicians in the local communities, where this knowledge can be put into practice fast enough to accommodate this growing population of autistic individuals.
Wow, remarkable, really remarkable. And when I hear about, communities or families, and also my readers who are connected with autism aspects, I usually see that they're not even know what they're looking for. It's a kind of, okay, this is the effect of something, but how can I get the cause? Because this is what we need. We don't know what the cause of the effect is. So really you're doing an amazing thing to put all this together for the entire, I think, population, because you're not in America, right? You can do it everywhere. How it works?
Yeah, so the beauty of this organization is that we have no borders because we have the option to use teleconferencing like we're doing now. You
Mm.
know, our local doctors are doing their best, and we know that, but they are seeing growing numbers of children on the spectrum. And oftentimes, you know, the ERs and hospitals are ending up treating individuals because they're exhibiting behaviors such as a self-injury or aggressions due to medical symptoms that are not being recognized by the local doctors, that exacerbate, and families out of frustration and fear run to the local emergency rooms. But that's a very traumatizing experience as well for people with sensory issues or fear of loud noises or processing, you know, busy activity like an emergency room would have. So what we're hoping is that through our medical video conferencing, not only are we helping the family and their affected child, but that we're educating the local physician that must participate on behalf of the family. So we require that a family physician participates in our video conference with our team of doctors so that that doctor becomes educated as well, and that knowledge can then trickle down throughout his practice and help other individuals that he or she treats.
Wow, this is very important. And yeah, what I experience here in Italy, and especially in different parts and areas of the country, from the north, the south, the center, that they have different located issues, but there is one common denominator that um, is having trouble to recognize the comorbid conditions. So they spend a lot of time, a lot of money for traveling to look for some kind of specialists or the hypothetical good one to
Yes.
to 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 deal with the issues. So yeah, this is very impressive. And also what we have here in Italy is that psychiatrists prescribe a lot of anti-epilepsy drugs and psychotropics medicals, and they destroy the gut, no, as you said before. And we don't have enough about a kind of alternative and holistic treatments or therapies or medicines or food. So my question is, your team of experts are doing also this alternative path? They're doing all this, or is just about the traditional aspects?
So that is a loaded question on many levels. So yes, we are primarily Western medicine doctors. However, we do believe in some alternative measures as well. We look at nutrition. We look at how can we modulate the sensory system through music therapy and other sources of therapy, such as occupational therapy, sensory integration work. But you brought up an interesting point about the medications, because really that's how a lot of this began with Dr. Aben and his son. His son was suffering from GI pain, and it was causing self-injury and severe aggressive behaviors. And when he brought this team of doctors together, what they realized is that the anti-epileptic drug that his son was prescribed was in fact causing the gut pain that was resulting in the aggressive behavior, which then required a psychiatric medication to try to help manage the behavior. So once they changed that seizure, the anti-seizure drug, to a gut-friendly drug, the behavior stopped and he was able to come off of the psychiatric medication. And that is the key here, that through collaboration, through communicating, having doctors speak to each other and understand what the presenting symptoms are, what each subspecialty wants to do to treat the symptoms, and then agreeing on that plan of care, is really the key in establishing medical stability so that the individual can go forward and be educated and thrive in their therapeutic programs and not be as behavioral, whether it's self-injury or aggressive towards others. Stabilizing them medically through collaboration is really the key. The medications are very difficult with individuals who have gut issues or difficulty with metabolizing. And we know that a large percent of our individuals on the spectrum, in fact, it's about 70%, have GI disorders. We know that around 36% have food allergies. So looking at diet is very important. And it isn't always necessarily a food allergy, but it could be a food sensitivity that can create GI issues that can lead to these behaviors. And so we do have to look at allergy, we do have to look at diet, we do have to look at what medications could be causing GI pain or disrupting that microbiome that we're learning so much more about these days through excellent research coming from these premier academic centers.
Wow, really amazing. Amazing. And do you support the other members of the family in a psychological way?
We do. That is a priority of Dr. Aben's. You know, the Autism Healthcare Collaborative began as the Autism Think Tank. That is our medical video conferencing program. We started the organization offering just that program. But as it evolved, we realized the depth of the need that the family has, right? It is so vast. The psychosocial issues that a family suffers because of this diagnosis is really, it's disruptive. It's very sad. It's emotional on many levels for all family members because siblings suffer. You know, oftentimes the parents are bringing their affected child from therapy to therapy, and the siblings are in tow, and maybe they're not able to engage in their after school activities or sports because they have to go to therapy with their sibling, and they suffer too. The stress on the parents is extraordinary. And so Dr. Aben feels very strongly about providing psychosocial support to the entire family. So we offer community outreach programs. We offer programs where an entire family can participate in an activity together because we know that families are often split apart. Things like going to, you know, we have here in the US our carnivals in the summertime, which is so fun for so many kids, but for affected individuals, crowds, lights, noise, rides like roller coasters, it wouldn't necessarily be possible for them unless we did things like what we do. We partner with organizations so that we can have exclusive time for our families with no lights, no sounds, no lines. Everything is free. So the whole family can come and enjoy an activity together. We know that the divorce rate in families with autism is extraordinarily high. And so a priority for us is to offer community outings like this that the entire family can participate in together.
Wow, I can relate with many of what you're saying because I am a sister, so my parents are divorced, so you know many of these aspects I've been living through all my entire life. So it's a non-profit organization, right?
We are a nonprofit organization.
And-
We do a lot of fundraising to try to raise money to subsidize the cost of our Autism Think Tank program for families. You know, the organization has evolved as we've worked with more families and we understand the needs of families. We create programs to meet those needs. So in order to offer these programs, we have to raise a lot of money. We rely on the support of our community, on foundation support for grants so that we can help families who we know struggle not only with the diagnosis, but with the financial capacity to provide for their child this is a lifelong disorder, as you know,
Yeah.
and many of our affected individuals with autism are going to outlive their parents. And so now we have to look at beyond programming, but we have to look at the future of children, post 21, when they transition out of their educational entitlements. Where are they going to live? Where are they going to work? Who is going to care for them when their parents pass? So we have a lot of work to do, and it takes a lot of money and support from our communities.
Yeah, for sure. And can I ask how is the cost for the family?
Yes, sure. So an autism think tank includes 5 of our medical experts that come from these premier academic centers across the US. It includes 1 year of case management with our clinical social worker. It also includes much time, pre and post think tank to organize and plan for the video conference with the doctors. We also work with the family's physician to allow them to participate on behalf of the family and learn the how to care for the individual or recognize what these symptoms might be that need the treatment. And in order to provide that service, it costs $5,000 US, but as a nonprofit, we subsidize 50% of that for all families. So we raise money to subsidize $2,500 of the cost, so that the cost to a family is $2,500. With that, they get all the services that I spoke of, and that video conference is 1 hour in duration, and they get a thorough, comprehensive report that they can take to all the specialists that they see locally to have that plan of care carried out. So what it does is it eliminates the need for medical travel. We bring our medical experts to the family wherever they are in the US or even abroad, so that the family does not have to travel, like you mentioned, to find the best doctors, because we know travel is difficult. We know how hard it is. We know how costly it is. But we can come directly to you through a teleconference and work with you and your physician.
Wonderful. So dramatically, it will improve the family life. Actually, it's not for the autistic guy, but it's for all the family.
You said it perfectly, and that is the goal, because if you can medically stabilize an individual, it affects the whole family, right? It makes the whole family and the home life better.
Interesting, very interesting. And it's interesting that my book and the script for the movie is plenty. I point out the GI disorders, the epilepsy, the food allergies, sensitivities, and immune system issues, genetic disorders, and most of the comorbid conditions that you are talking about. So it seems we're on the same mission with different tools. You're taking care of the scientific aspects, and I'm translating this through my artistic skills. But we need both sides of the coin, right? Because I think it's very important to get the people through different point of view, embracing them, and to let them to know what's going on with this pathology, even because apparently if I have a brother with autism, it seems that the problem is only of my family. But it's not like that, because it's a social issue. So all of us should be aware and should be conscious about the difficulties, because they are part of the society. So they have to be embraced from everybody. So it's I have another question for you.
Sure.
It is possible for adult boy, as my brother is, and many other in Italy, to switch from the psychotropic drugs to alternative drugs and cure the root of the comorbidities?
So I would not want to give medical advice because I'm not a medical doctor, but I would certainly say that, I think it's important to look at all treatment. I would say that exploring alternative measures is always of interest to families and could help, but I wouldn't want to give medical advice. I'd rather defer to the doctors for that. What I would like to say is that, our CDC has just released new numbers in the US, and we know now that 1 in 54 8-year-old boys is diagnosed with autism. And when you speak of the social issues around that, um, and given that it is Autism Awareness Month, I think what we need to make people aware of is that in 10 years, those 8-year-old boys are going to be adults.
Of course.
And that is where the issues are going to come into play when we look at the economics around this. We look at, the housing issues that we have, the employment issues that we have, the medical issues, our healthcare system. How are we going to provide for these individuals, not only with the number being increased by 10%, but as they age and have the complications of aging that we all have, who is going to be there to care for them? And that is a primary social issue that we all face.
Amazing. Yeah. And I'm really impressed from that all these infos that I'm receiving, and we need a lot of this info, especially here in Italy, because the research is not that strong enough. We have amazing researchers, maybe all out of the country, but we don't have big associations or organization as yours that can provide all of these. So of course it's a shame that this is not everywhere, and I will do my best to spread out everywhere, and because this is a very unique program, and I'd love to help you in being a bridge between America and eventually Europe and Italy, because we really need all this here. So
That's wonderful. And we have done work overseas with families. We've been in, I think, 5 other countries so far. We've been in Bangladesh and Armenia. We can reach anywhere. We have no borders. As long as the family and the doctor have Wi-Fi and a computer with a camera, we can get to you. So we would love to explore that. And we think that what you're doing through your book and through a potential movie is amazing for awareness, because that's what we need. We're aware of autism. I think we're all pretty aware of what autism is, but we're not aware of the medical issues and the complications that individuals suffer because of these medical issues, or how these medical issues exacerbate the symptoms of autism. And if we can get children, young children who are just diagnosed, on track early on, if we could educate the families and the doctors that treat these children early on so that these medical issues don't become chronic, we can prevent a lot of issues in the future.
Wonderful. Yes, I totally agree. Absolutely. And okay, let me see if I have some other questions that I read also in your website that you have a kind of physician families, for the families that can reach your web, your organization.
So Dr. Aben, as a physician and a father, feels it's very important to connect other physicians who are parents of children on the spectrum, not only for support, but for programs, for opportunities to develop new programs to reach more families. So we have just created a physician parent network, and we invite any doctor that has a child or an adult child on the spectrum to join our network so that we can collaborate. We have other programs as well. One program that was born out of families' need to understand where to go for help. A program called Clinical Care Navigation was created because we have families that don't necessarily qualify for an autism think tank, meaning maybe they haven't seen all of the specialists that they need to see locally. Maybe they haven't been to their local GI doctor. Maybe they haven't seen an allergist or a neurologist to see if maybe there are subclinical seizures, right? So they don't necessarily need to be put in front of 5 medical experts. Our think tank really works with families who have done everything. They've gone to every specialist. They have tried every medication. They've tried every alternative measure, but doctors still are not able to figure out what's going on medically, causing the pain or causing the exacerbated behavioral issues. So we didn't want to turn those families away. We needed to create a program to help those families that need guidance, that need help understanding what professionals should they seek out for help. And so that's what our clinical care navigation program offers, especially for young families who have a new diagnosis. We're here to help. We're here to hold your hand through that process to help you navigate what care your child needs.
Wow. I for sure will spread out your organization everywhere. In what is in my possibilities, I will do. Maybe there is a little of language barrier because, you know, in Italy, yeah, there are many people that can talk in English, but not all of them. But for sure, I will do my best to talk about this stunning organization. And thank you very much for sharing all these informations and for being here. And if you have something else to add that you think can be helpful for my country, I will appreciate it.
Yes, well, I would just like everybody to know that families are entitled to a free screening to determine which of our programs would be most beneficial for their child. And so they can reach out to me via email to set up a time to do that screening. It will be with me directly, and we can help sort through what's going on so that we can figure out how to help. My email, it can be provided to your viewers. It's Sheri@autismhc.org. Sheri is spelled Sheri at autismhc.org. Reach out to me and I'm happy to help. I'm happy to answer questions if I can. And we'll share your information as well. We'll share your book. We'll share it with our readers. You know, the more people we can educate and make aware, the better off everybody will be.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And so see you soon and have a wonderful rest of the day.
You as well. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.